Welcome back, everybody. It is another episode of the HotLap Production Podcast. I am your host, Isaiah Reyes.
How we doing, everybody? Ventura here. Hope your Thanksgiving was great.
Yeah, well, Thanksgiving was okay over here at the Reyes household. A lot of cooking, and all the food is already gone on day 3, 4.
Really?
Yeah, bro. We ain't got
Was it just
nothing
you
left.
guys?
Yeah, when nobody came, so.
Oh, who's over there, right?
Well, I mean, my mother-in-law was supposed to fly down, but then Grace told her no because of all the stuff going on in El Paso, so she stayed. But
yeah.
even then, I mean, I cooked a lot. I cooked so it would last a few days. It didn't last a few days. I mean, it was already out of we were out of yams the first day, so
Nice.
yeah. But it was cool. We had a good day. Well, we just watched movies all day, pretty much.
That's good. Yeah. I was supposed to go. I was supposed to be in El Paso all week, but it's just so bad right now there. So it's just like, I mean, I don't say I don't care, but I'm an essential worker. I stay exposed to this daily, so I don't. It's not so much that part, but everything shut down there. There's a curfew. None of my family was getting together, so it was just going to be a waste of vacation days. So I didn't go, but I had a good time. I went over to my mom's and my mom's house here, and me and my sister this was the first year we were both in charge of actually making Thanksgiving dinner. So it was my first attempt at a turkey, at the ham, and green bean casserole. My sister made mashed potatoes, mac and cheese, and the stuffing. And so it all came out pretty good. The turkey, we probably could have took it out maybe 30 minutes earlier, 30 minutes to an hour earlier, but luckily it didn't dry it out. It could have been a lot worse. With the amount of time we left it in there extra.
How big was the turkey?
I don't know actually. I didn't ask my mom how big it was. It wasn't small, but you know what I mean. So
It was medium size, yeah.
Yeah, so it was a good sized turkey. It came out pretty good. We kind of got, I don't want to say experimental, but we were just kind of winging it and doing whatever we wanted because I bought a little injector, so we were injecting random little concoction, and it was a good time. It came out pretty good. I was pretty happy with it. I think if we would have took it out a little earlier, it would have been a little bit juicier, which I like. I don't think anyone likes drier turkey.
No one likes dry turkey.
Yeah, but it wasn't dry in any way, and whatever. Especially if you got a little bit of the little juices left in it with it.
Right.
It was fire. It was really good. I was pretty happy with it for the first time. My first time ever doing it. The ham kind of screwed us over. We tried to do it in the crock pot, and it didn't cook it right. But my mom normally does it in the crock pot, so I couldn't tell you what happened this year. It just for whatever reason the inside was like barely warm, but like the bottom cooked up pretty well. So yeah, I don't know what happened. So the ham wasn't ready until after
dinner
because we threw it in the oven once everything else was done. So yeah, but no, it came out good. So we cooked, we ate about 2 and just hung out for the rest of the night. I don't think I left until almost 10. So
okay.
Yeah, it was a good day.
Yeah, sounds wonderful. Sounds wonderful. Yeah, no, I mean the injection of the turkey. I don't know why I never think about to buy one of those things. Probably because I marinate my turkey the night before. But even then, I feel you like I cooked mine for like 3.5 hours, but I had a 14-pound turkey. So that's tell you how much food we had left over and how none of it's here anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's some Brent was telling me about some turkey injector kits that come like with the marinade. I couldn't find any of those. I only found just the injector like in the home goods section. But yeah, no, came out pretty good. I was pretty happy with it. I'm kind of excited to try it again next year, and if they'll let me cook and kind of go from there. Actually the biggest thing I liked about it, because the little house or the little rule in our house where if I cook, you clean.
Yeah.
So that was probably the best part is I didn't have to clean afterwards. Because the last couple of years I've had to clean. You know what I mean? Or whenever my mom makes something when I'm over for dinner, she makes me.
She makes you clean. So. Yeah. No, I hear you. Yes.
Yeah, that was honestly probably my favorite part.
Look, I stayed in the house. I know the rule.
Yeah.
But no, I did see when your mom posted on Facebook. She was talking about. She's like, I think we're gonna make this tradition. They can cook for us from now. And I was just like, oh, I then.
Yeah, I ain't mad at it. I like cooking. I for the last like year or two, I always said if I was gonna go back to school, I'd probably do some culinary related. So.
Yeah, no, this is. I feel you. My first year cooking a full Thanksgiving was a little scary, so I can relate. But this is my third one, so I'm Gucci.
Yeah, and then we had a Friendsgiving here yesterday. That ham came out good because we actually did it in the oven,
Yeah.
and then I made the mashed potatoes, and the stuffing was, man, the stuffing is, I don't know, the instructions on the back of the box. I feel like weren't the right proportions. It was I feel like it was way too much butter, not enough chicken broth, and way too much stuffing, like the actual stuffing mix.
Like it was
Yeah,
just
for the
this is
amount
out
of
of it.
vegetables it told me to
Not
cut up.
right.
Yeah, it was bad. None of it made sense.
This is why you
But
listen
it
to
is.
your ancestors, bro.
Yeah, well, I already had called my sister about the mashed potatoes. I didn't want to bug her again for the stuffing. So
This is the right amount. Yeah,
yeah, so I was just like, all right, I'll just let it be.
that's fair.
It came out fine though.
Yeah. I can't complain. I don't do stuffing over here. We can't. We're not stuffing people. I don't know what it is. My parents even like judge me every year for Thanksgiving and Christmas, and I'm just like eh.
I like stuffing, but it's not my go-to. I was actually telling my parents like if I'm not gonna finish my plate, it's usually the stuffing that I leave behind.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. And then for me, it's like if I'm gonna eat your stuff in, your gravy has to be on point.
Mm,
And some people just can't make gravy either. So
yeah,
just rather not eat it at all. Well,
yeah,
well, before we get hungry again, guys, let's jump into the topic this week because there was no news this week because it's a holiday week, so we'll cut them some slack. But this week we actually want to talk about. I can't really even say like one of our favorite German automakers because you really can't say that because they make everything,
you're
everybody.
the you're the only German automaker.
They are Germany. It's no longer Germany. It's just Volkswagen.
Yeah,
But yeah, we wanted to talk a little bit about the Volkswagen Auto Group. Just kind of talk about highlights of cars that we love, some of their quirks, who they own, what they do. But really, just kind of talk about them so that way, because a lot of people really don't know that Volkswagen owns a lot of the major brands: Audi, Volkswagen,
the world.
basically. So it's kind of crazy. Fun fact: Volkswagen Auto Group's I was almost about to be beat out by Fiat Chrysler. So Fiat Chrysler is about to pick up. I forgot who they're picking up, but they're about to pick up a few more brands as well. So we may even see some more brands come into the states just through that partnership
That's
there.
weird.
But I know, but hey, I mean,
That's so random.
well, I mean, it's random to think that Fiat Chrysler, FCA is Fiat and Fiat owns Ferrari. So, some of the stuff that goes in our Chryslers are Ferrari products. So,
Yeah, that's
but
weird.
yeah, it is. But we'll deal with it. But at least Volkswagen, it's more respectable, reputable brands outside
Right.
of. I think the only oddball that they own is Skoda, which even Skoda's kind of up and coming in the last 10, 15 years. Um, they're mainly just everyday commuters overseas, but uh, their big ones are Audi, Porsche, things like that, where they own Lamborghini, which most people don't know
Bugatti.
either. Bugatti. So they're
Bentley? Don't they own Bentley
they
too?
own Bentley too, because when the whole W12 thing, they put the W12 in the Bentley Continental GT so they could have development and reliability things going on with for the up and coming W16 that was going in the Bugatti, the Veyron.
Hmm.
And Volkswagen has been um, that hit or miss car company for me, just because they make really cool stuff. Um, but it's not always the most how you say reliable. They have their
It's
hits and their misses, but like everybody says, the check engine light. If the check engine light isn't on in your Volkswagen, something's probably wrong.
so weird because like I know Volkswagen makes a good car,
Right?
but I also know that if I own one, I have to be ready for any repair bill I'm gonna get on the car. Like it's so weird. Like you don't have that really that almost what sort of I'm looking for paradox, if you will, with any other reputable brand. Like everyone knows, like you buy a Toyota, you're probably there's a chance you may never need a repair bill. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like
There,
and
there's a
Honda's
chance that when you're in the ground, it's probably still gonna be running after you're dead.
Right. Like, you know what I mean? Honda, as long as people know or should know that you're just gonna most of your bills are gonna be maintaining it, but not necessarily repairs. You know what I mean? Or any huge repairs. You
Right. You may
know,
have a wheel
but
bearing go, or it may need
some
struts,
struts.
but
Yeah.
repairing it, replacing something, probably not gonna happen.
New engine, new tranny.
Nah. Maybe need a
Once in a blue
service.
moon. So yeah, but Volkswagen, it's like, yeah, they make a good car, but also be prepared for anything that may happen. It's such a weird paradox, a weird.
Right, because it's not. You know that the Volkswagen's either gonna run all the time and never give you issues, or you're just gonna get that one that always has gremlins. But it's never an in between.
Mhm.
And I mean, even I've worked at a few Volkswagen stores where it's just kind of like we you do a lot of general maintenance because they get serviced every 10,000 miles, so they don't get serviced that often.
Right.
But even then, like when you have one that comes in for a repair or like a malfunction light or something, it's like super out there, and it's like something that's going to take you 4 or 5 days to track down.
Figure out.
Yeah, because you just
Yeah,
don't. There's
there's so
90
much.
10. There's 90,000 computers in it, and
Right.
you don't know which
It's
one's going
so
wrong.
they're so over engineered sometimes that that's their downfall.
Yeah.
Like, and there's always like some random quirky things. Like, was it you that had the alternator that ended up being like the wrong alternator because apparently there's two part numbers and each one has a different
Yes.
they has a different pulley that doesn't put out the right charge or something like that.
Yes. And that stupid Volkswagen CC that I had.
Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Ugh.
it's like little things like that. Like there's literally, and for whatever reason, both part numbers come up for the car,
Yes.
and it's not trim specific. It's just for whatever. There's just so there was something that
Yeah.
required this specific alternator, and they were both OEM. You put OEM parts in the car,
They were
and the
both for
only
2-liter
part,
FSI motors.
and you only figured that out because Dave happened to know about this, right?
Yes, I called Dave on a whole different car, and then Dave, I had told him, I was like, "Hey, you know anything about Volkswagen?" He's like, "I think I can help you." Had the conversation with him. He was like, "Well, did you try the other part number?" I'm like, "There's another part number."
Like it's things like that, man, where
Stupid,
it's just
bro.
like, but then you're also like you're not surprised that that happened because it's
Right.
Volkswagen. You're
Over
just
engineered.
you're mad it happened, but you're
Yeah.
not. They're like, why did this happen? It's just yeah, it's
And
Volkswagen.
right, and Volkswagen, just like other manufacturers, they have those engines that are bulletproof, and then they have the engines that you're just gonna have to keep an eye on. Some of the VR6 motors you got to keep an eye on, but we all know that the 1.8-liter turbo
Hmm.
is going to be the most reliable thing on earth, and you're never going to have to do anything to it. But I mean, so you can't really knock them for that because yes, the check engine light comes on. Yes, they have their quirks, but a lot of the time you're just really going to enjoy your Volkswagen. Um,
Maintenance
most
is still costs a arm and a leg sometimes though.
It's German, yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
but also I think they're also preparing their customer base for the fact that most of them are most likely going to move up to Audis after their Passat or something, or their
yeah,
Touareg, and it's just like, okay, yeah, you're gonna have to. This is what you're gonna be spending over there, so be prepared.
yeah.
But I mean, they're also very iconic in the fact that we all know somebody that a Beetle was their first car, or
Mhm.
we all know somebody that's had a Golf or two in their time, or a Jetta or two, or a Passat or two. So I mean, they're a very intertwined auto group, really, in anybody's life. Some people will never drive Chevys or Fords. Some people will never drive Hondas and Toyotas, but you at least know, one person in your friend group or one person in your family has had at least one or two or three Volkswagens. It's just,
Right.
it's just that thing. I mean, even my mom, she started off with a 66 bug that she bought from her brother for $50. So I mean, there's those cars. I mean, I really have always wanted an '04 to '06 Jetta with the Wolfsburg package, but the chance I had to buy one, my father told me no. But we'll get over
Is what it is.
that. We'll get over that. We'll get over that. But yeah, I mean they're really good cars. I can understand why they have such a big hand in everybody's pot. Basically, I mean,
Hmm.
uh, even though you can tell, I don't know if you've been in a Porsche or if you've been in an Audi, you have those little pieces of the car that oh, that came out of a Passat, or that came out of a CC, or they're interchanging the parts bin, as well as part numbers, I'm sure. But most people really just don't know that they have such a large span in the car market. I can't get over the fact that they even own Porsche. I mean, think about it. The same company that's making your average everyday 1.4 turbo Jetta is also making the Porsche GT3. So,
Right. Yeah. That always reminds me every time like I think of like, oh yeah, Volkswagen owns Porsche of that one was it Grand Touring episode where they were talking about hypercars and one of them
yeah.
was the Porsche. I can't think of it or what it was. Like, oh, what's the gas mileage on this? And they were like, it still gets 40 some miles to the gallon.
Oh, the
They're
hybrid, the
like,
new one, the 918.
yeah, where they were talking about that in the Ferrari.
Yeah.
Yeah, that episode, and and they're like, yeah, so it gets 40 whatever miles to the gallon. They're like, really? And they're like, well, who engineers it? And they just look at the camera like we just know. Like, still cracks me up, bro. I love
Yeah,
it.
they're just like everybody's just like, huh. The same guy who makes the Jetta hybrid that gets 60 miles to the gallon is the person that invented this extremely fast hypercar.
You
But
can
I
still
mean,
daily if you wanted
but
to.
that's the thing about Volkswagen Auto Group. It doesn't matter what outside of Lamborghinis. Well, even no, because Lamborghinis, ever since they've owned Lamborghini, have been daily drivable. I mean, Lamborghini years ago when they were still their own Italian company, it's like, yeah, we can't, you can't. The clutch is too heavy. Can't change gears. Can't see out the back. Have to open the door to reverse. Uh,
Mhm.
but ever since that, the Germans have gotten involved. I mean, think about one time you've heard about unreliable Lamborghinis in the last 15 years. That
Right.
used to be a thing with them. It's an Italian car, it's going to break down. But no, not anymore. I mean, they're German engineered. They have German electrics. Some of them even have German engines in them, and yet we're still, they still drive perfectly fine. I mean, the
Yeah.
Lamborghini Urus is still the Audi RS-Q8. Basically, all it is a Volkswagen Atlas underneath. So they all share the same platform, and they all still are daily drivable. But even the Porsche GT cars, the GT1, the GT2, and the GT3, they all have racing pedigree, but and all the the tidbits of I have Recaro seats and I got a harness and all that kind of stuff. But literally, you can still jump in them and drive to the office or drive to the grocery store, and it still has a trunk and all that kind of stuff. So it's to me, it's a good thing that they have their hand in so many cars, because even though they're making them super fast and super, uh, you know, over engineering them to the point of extreme performance, they're still good cars. I mean, we were talking about the
Right.
Golf R last week, where it's the best hot hatch only because it can do everything.
Hmm.
It's not the fastest, it's not the most aggressive, but it does everything and it does it all well. You can
Very well.
still drive it every day. You can still take it to the office and no one's going to look at you crazy. But it's just that's why the 911 is basically the car of every lawyer, doctor, architect,
Right.
because it's the car that no matter what trim you get, I can drive it to the office because it's still going to run fine, and I can go take it to the Volkswagen dealer to get serviced. And you know what I'm saying? It's just that aspect of the fact that Volkswagen has basically refined themselves.
It's nice that that can happen. I still think I'm gonna own a Golf R at some point in time. I am. I
Oh,
just
right.
I am. It's probably gonna end up being my daily driver when I start, if I can one day start building the Mustang. If I don't have a 400Z by then, it'll probably be a Golf R.
I'm telling you, man. As much as I love Hyundai Kia and how much I drive them, just like you want a Golf, I want a Jetta GLI so bad. I've been after one of those cars
You
forever, just
have.
because they're so nice to drive and it's so fun. Like, you would never think that such a small car and such a basic platform would be such a fun car to drive. And I'm just like, it doesn't even have half the features that the other cars that I won't want, but it's just that it's that much of a nice place to be that I'm just like, I don't care.
Hmm. Yeah. No. Yeah. Volkswagen. I've like ever since I was younger. I've always liked Volkswagens. I think they went through their own little boring stage with some of their commuter cars, but everyone did in the early 2000s.
Yeah, that was
Um,
because we were all broke at some point.
right. So I mean, it is what it is at that point. But I do feel like at least with their more luxury brands or higher end brands, they never lost their touch in like the sports car aspect,
Hmm.
and they just had to wait for the timing to be right in the regular consumer brand market to then start bringing stuff back
Yeah, and I mean,
because
even at that point, like what you're saying, where they kind of had their boring space, but even though like the Mark IV and Mark V GTIs were kind of bulky and plasticky and kind of gross, they all you had an array of engine options, so you could either get the 1.8 turbo or the VR6, and they were still fun to drive. I
yeah,
mean, they weren't terrible.
right. Though I do, the first time I saw one, or as an adult, remember seeing one, was it the R32 Golf?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, those for whatever reason, I think those look super clean because they kind of have a weird kind of quirky bubbleness to them. Almost is the way I saw it, but I didn't know what it was, and I was in the speed at the time, and I was like, should I race this? I knew it was sporty. I could tell it was a GTI of some sort, but I didn't
Right.
know what it was. I was like, I want to race this, and then
But I don't know.
I don't want to also get embarrassed. So I
Yeah.
was like, nah, 'cause I was like, nah, I'll sit back. And then you told me what it was, and I was like, ah,
Hmm. And,
good
and
thing I
and
did it.
it's so funny because the R's came out during the Mark Six version of the GTI, so kind of where we are right now in the Mark Six, Mark Seven Golfs. The Mark Four and Five had the R32, which were the VR6 3.2s with the all-wheel drive. So it's to me those ones were the more aggressive R models of the Golf, just because they took a heavy engine of what they had at the time
Mhm.
and they still made it an overperforming, extremely well handling hatchback. They and they sound good.
Yes, they do. They
Yes.
absolutely do. And I think that's another part too that I've always enjoyed talking about I guess the more the VR6 than anything. I've always enjoyed the weird engine configurations Volkswagen does, and the VR6 and how narrow
Narrow,
it's
yeah.
built, or the W8 or the W8. I just found out about today. Like
Yeah.
when you said W8, I was like, I literally was in my math just trying to place them all right, bro. I was so confused. I was just like, what? Like I could not figure it out. And then or so the W8 or the W12, the W16, like it's just all just like it's
The
so
inline fives that
different.
go in the Mark V Rabbits and the Jettas from that era, the ones that are actually still going, they still go in the RS3 and the TTRS. So that
Right,
five cylinder, I mean, all of their engines just make some wonderful. Porsche's flat six.
right.
You can't tell me that you would not enjoy hearing the roar of a 4 liter flat six ever in your life. Because
Right.
uh,
Yeah. So that's another part too that just over time thinking about what they've thrown some of those engines into. It's just like, interesting.
there was a limited production Beetle. I don't know if you know when the new Beetles came out in their late '90s, early 2000s. The new Beetle got a Beetle R, and it was all-wheel
Yes.
drive.
Oh no, I didn't know it was all-wheel
Bro,
drive.
yes, all-wheel
Now
drive, beautiful car, but it's a Beetle.
you didn't. I only knew about the turbo model,
Yeah.
but
No,
I
there's a
didn't know
turbo.
about
So
the
you
R.
can get the 1.8 T, which is the Beetle Turbo, but there was the Beetle R, which I believe
No
had
idea.
it's a VR6 as well. So I think it's the 2.7. I'm not quite sure on that one, but I know it's the VR6 model with the all-wheel drive. Yeah, Beetle R.
Lord,
Yeah.
yeah, and that bubbly
It gets a wide
beetle.
body kit, bro.
Stop.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I love it.
I mean, just crazy cars like that. Overseas, they even have like super high horsepower new vans, the Beetle vans, just because just because they can. A lot of the vans over there,
They have a Beetle van.
no. So the Euro vans, the Volkswagen Euro vans, you can get them with
Oh,
VR6s and manuals out overseas, like insane. Just cool stuff like that. I mean, they even had limited edition Mark III, Mark III, Mark III or four? No, yeah, Mark III GTIs, well, Golfs
mhm.
that came in like funky colors. Like they were mismatched. So it was like one panel of the car was yellow, one panel was green, one kind of panel was purple, one panel was red. Dope cars. And
What?
they only sold like a limited run of them. Matter of fact, I think James Humphrey even said he had one at one point.
That's so all the door panels are mismatched?
Yeah, they're all different colors, bro. It's like yellow and like pistachio, green and blue and purple and all that kind of stuff.
Why?
Just because it's Volkswagen.
That's fair. I'm not gonna argue that.
Exactly.
That could
You
be the
can't.
response for anything. Like
It's
it's
Volkswagen.
Volkswagen. And you just have to accept it. You just there's no other way around that.
I mean, this is the same company that came out with the Passat W8 wagon with a manual and 4Motion. Like, why not? Who says we can't do this? Volkswagen's just
Volkswagen makes a beautiful wagon.
any of their variation of wagons. The Audi Avant RS2, the very original sport wagon.
Well, I told you about the RS6 the other day. Like I saw,
Yes,
who was it? Was it Street Pipes? I think it was Street Pipes. Comparing it to the Mercedes.
E63.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah,
And even though the E63 was outperforming it, oh, that Audi is just so
it's so
beautiful.
pretty.
Oh, it's so beautiful. Like, oh, just the way it stands and the shape of it. I was just like, yes,
No,
give it
and
to
I agree, but to me, either one of those, because even the E63 to me is just. But any of the RS Audi wagons
me. Mhm.
are I'm with it.
The E63 in the back end looked a little too SUV ish as far as how big the trunk stayed. The
Right.
the RS6, I like how it kind of slopes into like a almost like a hatch, so it just looks
Mm-hmm.
more like an elongated hatchback
Right.
versus the E63 looks
Where it's
like a
squared off.
lowered
Yeah.
SUV. So I think that's why I like the RS6 a little more. And then the wheels, and then it has like a perfect like fitment, like with the little wide body kind
Mm-hmm.
of look it has, but
Mm-hmm.
like the wheels are flush on it or the tires.
Mm-hmm. The fitment is right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I get
Oh,
you.
it was it's sexy.
But it's just things like that. All the Porsches that come out of that mill. I mean, it wasn't until Volkswagen took over that we got a Porsche SUV. I mean, who would have ever thought? Or the four door Panamera.
Right.
Those cars are
Those are
just.
nice.
I'd take a Panamera, but
They
that's
they grew
also
on me.
yeah. But the have you seen the new shooting brake version? So the
Shooting brake?
yeah, so it's the new current Panamera, but it comes in. I think it's called the GT Touring. Look it up. Uh, where it's now looks like a wagon.
Sport Turismo?
Yes,
Ooh.
yes.
Ooh.
Uh huh. It gives you a new look on it, doesn't it,
Yeah. Because instead of all
bro?
the fastback look, it's more wagon. It's
It's
a
wagon. Yes.
oh, I like that. Because it almost now that with the wagon back end, it
It
almost
makes
justifies
sense.
how long the car
It
looks.
makes sense.
Because that was always like the thing that threw me off at first, like when the Panamera first came out, it looked almost too long. Like it just looked really stretched out. It's grown on me over time. Every time I see one, I'm like, you know what, that is a nice looking car. But God, that with the wagon, bro.
It's
Oh,
beautiful.
that's nice.
Beautiful. It takes the Panamera and it just makes it that much more juicy.
Does the Panam oh my God, Panamera have the hatch like the Stinger does?
Mm-hmm. It's a hatch, yeah. So I mean, there's that, but I mean, they take their cars and they make them into these beasts of monstrosities. Even
Wow.
at one point, every Volkswagen has had a hot version of it. Even in the Audi and the Porsche branch, but to me, the Passat never really got one. It never got like a Passat R or a Passat GTI or GLI or whatever. But they did have a limited production in the like it's like I think it was from 11 to 13 or 11 to 14. They had the Passat SEL. And at that time, they didn't fit them with the 1.8 turbos like they did now. That was an engine option, but it wasn't what was going in the SELs. The SELs got the 3.2 VR6 with DSG. Oh yeah. And they had a limited run of those. They had a ground effects kit. They came with 20s. I mean, a beautiful car, but it was more luxurious. It was, it was made for the American market, of course. But it was very luxurious, and it looked really, really fast and, R-like, but that thing will blow the doors off if you gave it too much, too much room.
Yeah.
So
That's crazy.
that it kind of sucks that the Passat never got the hot version, but I mean, any of their other cars, you got the Jetta GLI, the GTI for the Golf, the Beetle had several different turbo engine options that you could get the Beetle turbo in the new generation that was just recently killed off. I mean, you even got hot versions of the Touareg of all cars.
They killed off the current Beetle?
Yeah, Beetle's been gone for a year, I think. A year, 2.
Really? Oh,
Mhm.
I missed that one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, they killed up the Beetle. I guess they said they weren't getting enough sales.
I guess.
But that's just like they said they were going to kill the
sense.
Golf Sport Wagon, but they kept it. I mean, it's still coming out. But yeah, I mean, as far as the Beetle goes, they killed it last year or the year before.
Oh wow!
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize that.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, we even got hot versions of the Touareg. They're making a hot version of the Tiguan. So I mean, it's just Volkswagen doesn't say
Full
no.
send SUVs, man.
All the time.
I don't know why that gets me so excited now.
My thing is, if we're gonna do it right. Please let us just, don't let us roll over trying to make them have fun.
Right. I still want my cars.
Right.
Just yeah, I get what you mean by roll.
No, I don't want to roll over. Just give me some suspension work, bro. Just
drop them an inch or two.
Oh yeah, it's something. Give us some adaptive. Everybody just purchase the rights from GM. Everybody just do Magna Ride.
I'll pay an extra $3,000 for Magna Ride. I don't care.
We'll all get the option. It's gonna happen. Just everybody purchase the patent and just make fast SUVs with Magna Rides.
Call it a day.
Yeah, it'll be fine. But yeah, I mean, it's never a dull moment to me with Volkswagen. Their colors are kind of dull. I will say that.
Yes.
Outside of the Lamborghini mark, every color that you can get a Volkswagen, Audi, Porsche, Seat, all of that. Yeah, it's all boring.
Porsche has some interesting colors.
The extra cost it is to do those colors.
But it's Porsche. I mean, you're looking at a Porsche. You're gonna be ready for that.
I guess. Yeah.
Just like right. I'm not mad that the paint the racing stripe options on a GT500 track pack are $10,000. You're looking at a GT500 track pack. You're not mad that that's a $10,000 option.
I'm upset that that's a $10,000 option.
It is
coming out of a Ford. We're not going to go into that.
Yeah.
Yes, no. I mean, I guess I can see your point, but yeah, I can't justify the
the red I'm seeing on this this Panamera Sport Turismo is kind of nice, and that green is pretty sexy too, actually.
Yeah, I mean, all their off colors are pretty good, but I mean, 9 times out of 10 when you see a Porsche, Volkswagen, Audi, it's black, gray, white, or silver.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll get a red one, maybe even a blue, but that's about it.
They had their run of colors on like the last generation of buggies, but like the current gen, I can only think of like white and I think gray ones.
I mean, think about all the colors that the GTI comes in outside of white, black, red, and silver.
There's a lot. You have to special order. They're never on the lot.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and then some of those paint options are like $4,000 or $5,000. Yeah, but there's oh my god, there's a lot though. Have you ever like looked on their website? It's
I have. I mean,
like 30 some different colors you can pick from. It's so cool.
Yeah, but see, like with me, I mean, even me, I guess it's just my color taste. Like for the GTI, unless it's going to be that matte gray that they just started doing, or the
there's one. I
that
think it was
green. And
blue. Oh
I have
yes,
seen the blue, the green, the dark green, the forest green. I'm all for it. Let me have that in a
I've
Wolfsburg
been
GTI.
I've been really digging army green on cars lately.
It's a good color. I'm glad they're
It
bringing it
is.
back. To me, the pioneer for that in the recent times was Chevy, because they were putting it on the Camaros and the SS.
Oh yes.
Yes,
Oh, I wanted one of those
it's
so bad.
so pretty.
Oh man.
Because they started bringing it in on the 13, 14, yeah. So the facelift of the fifth gen, they started
Hmm.
doing that green color when they brought out the SS2. So I'm like, yeah, that right there to me was like the pioneer of let's bring green back.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been really digging a lot of I mean, outside of Volkswagen, just in general, a lot of the crazy outgoing colors that automakers have been putting out. They've been really snazzy with it. I'm here and I'm all for it.
Yeah, everybody's starting to adapt the wolf gray mentality, which I'm digging because a lot of the cars that are coming out today are the the body lines that you see are very flattering, especially when they're in that wolf gray, because you can see them with
Hmm.
the contrasting of the light. So when you see the
Right.
body line and it's black underneath, it just
Well,
highlights
like,
it.
yeah, even this facelift Accord has a gray like that too.
Really?
Yeah, that's pretty nice. I ain't gonna front. I forgot what it's called, but yeah, it has a like a matte gray color for
Yeah.
it.
But I mean, that's my only gripe with the Volkswagen Auto Group. It's just like, can we have a little bit more liveliness? I understand that Germany is
Mm.
dark and gloomy and rainy all the time, but if we could get some joyful colors other than yellow brake calipers on all of the cars, which is also a
Yeah,
$1,000 or $1,500 option.
I don't mind that. That yellow calipers are pretty clean, especially if you like got a black car. Oh
Right.
yeah.
My like the comical thing to not even really all of Volkswagen is really just Porsche. Is who knew that we were going to love a car company so much that you pay them more to give you less? Like
That's
literally, you're paying them more money, and you no longer have a door handle. You have a leather. I'm not a leather, but
a
a
strap.
cloth strap that you pull on to get out the car. You have no back seats. They put a metal roll cage in your car. There's no carpet. There's no insulation. Sometimes you have to option AC. But the less stuff you get, the bigger that 6-digit number gets.
Yeah,
It's just like,
but
huh?
you're paying for the performance. It's performance based at that point. I never
I,
realized how much weight reduction actually goes towards what you got going on.
yeah,
And you know what made it click? As stupid as it's gonna sound, was weight reduction on Forza, because like you always had in Forza 6, you always had just the three levels. You had the whatever street, race, and track, or whatever, however how
right.
they oriented it. And sometimes I was looking at it, and like the track one would be like 180 pounds, and I was like, that's it. But like that would jump in like two classes sometimes, and I was like, what? And then I was like, well, I guess it really makes that big of a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and
Mm-hmm.
I thought about it, I was like, well, yeah, that's a whole human out of the car.
Yeah.
You know what I
Well, I
mean?
mean,
So I
if
was
you think
like,
about it too, I mean, you're getting rid of all the unsprung weight.
yeah,
You're basically all of the amenities are gone. So I mean, it's just the less weight that the car has to push, the better. Normally, the better it handles because you can stiffen it up more as well.
right. No,
You
yeah,
know,
I realize that now. And also clicked to realizing when I actually had like extra adults in the car that I could tell my car wasn't pulling as hard. That's what also clicked in me like, yeah, weight makes a huge difference.
Oh yeah,
It really does.
yeah. No, my 1.6 liter with a car full of four people just don't do it. It just
So my
mm.
Mustang with just two other people in it, I was like, oh. And of course it was Logan and Devin, so two tallest people on the drive.
Right. No, yeah, I can understand that one. So I mean, there's I get why Porsche does it, but it's just at some point we're just gonna get to the point where we just get the badge and it's $2 million. Forget it. All right, guys, let's jump into some track daily crush for the week. We kept it kind of on par, minus one car that's not Volkswagen Auto Group, but that's just because you know I got
Ah,
bored. So the first one is actually going to be the 1990 Mark III Scirocco VR6. So the last generation before it got killed off. Rest in peace, Scirocco, even though they still make it overseas and we don't get it. But we have that one. We have the 89 Porsche 944 Turbo and one of the early S cars, which is a 1993 Audi S4.
So I've always liked Audi. I have for a while. Even before I was into cars, I just always thought Audi was just a good looking car. But Audi too, just like Volkswagen, went through its stage of it being very bland and just looking like a badged Volkswagen.
Yeah, this is one of those
And
times.
this is one of those cars.
Yeah.
So with that said, I'm a crush the Audi.
Okay,
I'm a
well,
crush the
let me
Audi.
give you some insight. Do you know what engine it has in it?
I don't know that I care.
It is the same engine out of the world famous Group B Audi S car. So the first Quattro car, the little 2-door monstrosity. It's got that 5-cylinder with the same turbo.
Okay.
And all-wheel drive because it's Quattro. But
Because it's Quattro.
yeah, but
Still crushing it.
Okay, cool. Just making
Still
sure.
crushing it.
Okay.
Because I'm gonna daily the Scirocco because I've always will probably forever want any Scirocco. Anything that just has that label or has that emblem on it, I want it. I always have. So I'm gonna daily that, and then I'm gonna track the Porsche because
it's a 944.
It's a 944 Porsche. So that's honestly that's the only reason. Like even though you said that, made it a little more enticing. But it's just like had it been any other car that wasn't the Scirocco, I might have picked that Audi, especially with that tidbit of info. But just because it's a Scirocco, I want it. I want
That's
it.
fair. This is going to be really weird for me because I still want a 944 for my project car. But I'm going to crush the 944 because I want the S4 to track because that engine noise. And then the fact that they all go and then me, I'm a sleeper guy. So
That's fair. Yeah, I guess that now that you say that, that doesn't surprise me too much.
Yeah. I'm a sleeper guy. So the fact that thing just looks like a box on wheels with an Audi badge and there's really no S markings to go on it with it, and it only comes in black, silver, white, red. Definitely want that because again, I'm going to pull up on the way to the track in that S4, and they're just going to look at me like, it's just an old man's Audi.
Right.
So yes, I'm going to track the S4.
Like, where's the truck with the car? Why are you? How long before your truck gets here? You just beat it here, right?
Right. So I'm going to track the S4, and I'm going to daily the Scirocco because, like you myself, the Scirocco is just beautiful, and in all of its 3.2 VR6 front wheel drive goodness, that noise would be a wonderful joy to hear every morning. So I'm with you there. The next on the list is going to be Battle of the Wagons. The first one's an 06 Passat wagon with the W8 and the manual, because yes, they came in the manual. The next one is going to be the 05 RS4 Avant, so the Audi RS4 with the wagon. That one also has a V8. And then the 07 BMW M3 wagon, which is only available overseas, Lou. And that one also has a V8. So V8, W8.
Question: is the M3 rear-wheel drive still, or is it all-wheel drive?
No, it's rear-wheel drive still.
Okay.
So the top two are all-wheel drive. The bottom is rear-wheel drive.
Okay. So this one. So this one, I have a very big, for whatever reason, I have a very big bias with M cars and just immediately thinking I want to track them. I do, and I think anytime there's been an M car in the track daily crush, I've immediately just tracked it. And I'm gonna stick with that. So that M3 wagon's getting tracked. Audi almost every time kills it with their wagon look, with the wagon aesthetic. They just have it down to a T like nobody's business.
That wide body stance is still in that RS4.
Oh, and I just so like
It's pretty. I know.
I know, yeah. So I'm a daily the Audi, and then I'm crushing the Passat, and it's just I know I feel bad like just crushing the layman's one, like the the what's the word I'm looking
The
for?
lesser mark.
The less, yeah, this just because, but it's not because it's just because of what it's stacked against right now. It's not so much that I don't want that car because I would still drive the living daylights out of that Passat wagon too. I would, but compared to the RS4 and the M3, eh,
And see, I have a bias because I love that M3 because of how amazing that high rev V8 is.
yeah.
But I'm still gonna crush it, bro. A W8 is not a V8. I'll put it this way: it's
Oh,
a mixture.
was I saying V8?
No,
I
no,
think I
no,
was.
no, no, no. I'm saying like as far as sound goes, a W8 is it's a mixture of a flat plane sound. So imagine a GT350 and a Hemi had a baby in Europe, and
Hmm,
it has a European accent. That is what it sounds like.
that was quite the analogy.
Yes, but you will understand what I'm saying when you hear what this car sounds like. So
Yeah.
I'm going to daily drive the W8. I'm going to crush that wonderful M3 wagon, and I'm going to track the RS4 because that car has a special place in my heart. So as soon as they stop getting sold for $60,000 on Bring a Trailer, I'll decide to try and get one. But until then,
That's fair. I don't know. For my dailies though, I will fully admit I'm bougie. I am.
hey, look, I will tell
I
you
want
that
to look nice.
that interior, out of all three of them, I'm still taking the Passat because the bouginess is in the interior in that W8.
No, I don't know.
You need the
I like
mark. I
to
hear you.
I like yeah, yeah, I'm bougie.
You need the badge to say, yes, I'm here. I have arrived. This is coming from the same person.
Not the bad, it's just to have it look nice.
Uh huh. Uh huh.
Because
Badge.
my badge on the car owner now
Currently,
tells
yeah, no.
people I'm a F boy and I kill crowds.
That or you're just a really inexperienced 17-year-old white boy
Yeah. No, I can handle my car. I've
or a redneck, but you're neither. None of those.
No, not at all.
It's okay. I still love you, even though you drive a Mustang. It's also because it wasn't by choice.
I also hate how you talk trash even though you're the one who pushed me towards getting this car.
Only because we couldn't find any other 1LEs in the vicinity, sir.
God.
Otherwise, we'd have a Chevy badge on you and we'd be totally happy,
That's
sir.
fair.
This is also coming from the person who mainly buys Mustangs as project cars because they're cheaper to work on. But we'll divvy that out. Last one is going to be Touareg, which is going to be the R50 edition, which is when I was talking about Volkswagen making hot versions of all their cars. This is their hot version of their SUV, only it's untraditionally hot. It's got a V10, and not only does it have a V10, it also has diesel power. So it's a diesel V10 that just puts out extreme amounts of torque to pull it everywhere it goes. The next one is going to be the 2013 Porsche Cayenne Turbo S. So if you know anything about Porsche Cayennes, you know the first generation was pretty garbage, and they stopped making them in 2007. And then they started making them again in 2008 to 10, and they were kind of okay then. And then the second generation came out, and they were fine. So that's why I went second generation, because the second generation's fire.
Yeah.
And then the last one is going to be the 2010 Audi Q7, which also their hot version of the Q7 is a V12. And this one is also diesel powered, but may I also add the fact that it is diesel powered and twin turbo.
Twin Terpskis.
So, where are we going?
I I'm going to track the Porsche because I want I don't know, something about a traditional gas engine on a track just makes sense to me.
Okay.
So I'm gonna track that.
Okay.
And I also feel like in general the Cayenne At least that one, it still has, or the Porsches in general still have a kind of a sporty feel to them.
Hmm.
So like I feel like that would be more tunable, be able to become more tunable for a track, if I were to try to do so. I am actually on this one going, and this is, I think honestly this is more purely on looks because I don't care for diesels really, if I'm being honest. But I've also never owned one, so that could easily change if I ever own or drive one, really, for that matter. I'm gonna crush the Audi and I'm gonna drive the Touareg
Volkswagen. Hmm.
because something about the shape of the Touareg reminds me of very like the executive full size SUVs of that time. So like the Land Cruiser, the
Hmm.
there's one more that I'm
I
thinking
feel
of.
you.
No, but like that class of
Right, like the
SUV.
X5, things like that. Yeah.
Right. So I'd be down to drive and daily that. Something about the Audi just looks, I don't know, it's a little too bland. Versus the Touareg almost has like a, also you could probably turn that into a nice looking like Outlander. Is it Outlander?
Yeah.
Is that what they're called?
Hmm.
Where you have like the scoop, the scuba, or what's the
The
scuba,
the intake, yeah. The
yeah, the scuba
snorkel.
intake, snorkel, thank you, the snorkel, and the, the roof racks on top and stuff like a lot of people do with the Land Cruisers. So
That's
yeah, that's
fair.
my choice.
Um, being totally transparent, all three of these cars are built on the same chassis and same suspension because they're all hot versions. But outside, I can understand your reasoning. Sir, am going to crush the Touareg because I'm not a fan of the first generation Touareg because the second generation just makes me orgasm. So we'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
Yeah, I want a Wolfsburg TDI like 13 to 15 model so bad, but they're hard to find. Um, my boss at Ford recently had one, and his was black on black. It was so pretty,
Ooh.
so pretty. So he has one, and it's a TDI too. So I would have that over the first gen. So I'm going to crush the first gen. I'm going to daily the Porsche because that's the point where I would like to be bougie-er.
Fair enough. I can agree with that.
Yeah, Porsche Audi. I'm gonna take the Porsche because showing up to church on the Porsche would be real. Look at me now. Yeah. So, uh, and also turbo V8 every day sounds wonderful. Mind you, I'm taking the economy-focused V12 diesel to the track, but also because no one's going to expect me to take the V12 diesel Audi to the track because why?
Right.
But it would be really fun. This is also coming from experience of owning a Q7, so I just enjoy how powerful and torquey they are. I've never driven the V12. I've only driven the 3-liter V6, but even then, the amount of power that's even in the V6, I could imagine the V12 is just like put me in your seat. You can't reach the dollar torque test because it comes with 730 foot-pounds of it. So
Fair enough.
yeah. I'm definitely going to take the Audi to the track, but just that's my reasoning behind it. That's also just me being a TDI fan because I recently just found out that you can get a TDI in an A7, and that just kind of piqued my interest a little bit because they're not that expensive because of Dieselgate and having an Audi
Yeah. Good old Dieselgate.
Sportback, bro.
I was surprised we had a whole conversation of Volkswagen didn't bring up Dieselgate.
Yeah, I
We
don't
just
like the
kind of
fact that
choose to
ignore
just
it because
ignore it.
I still like them. And well, the only good thing that came out of Dieselgate is the fact that all the diesels that were part of Dieselgate are cheap now. So I mean, you can go to Carvana right now and buy like a 2-3-year-old Volkswagen Golf TDI with a manual for like $8,000. It only
Yeah.
has
And
30,000 miles.
like I said, I don't care for diesels, and you like diesels more because of the power delivery, not because they were supposed to be an eco-friendly alternative. So
Yeah, I mean, sticking a diesel is a little bit interesting in a normal economy car, but I would still probably stick one. But the DSG with the diesel is like perfect. It's a match made in heaven. So, and the fact that I'm still telling you, bro, the fact that and I looked them up too. They go on as late as 2016, and right now even like low mileage A7s, the one I'm talking about, the Sportback one.
yeah.
Even low mileage versions of that car right now with like 30, 40,000 miles are going for like 25 grand.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So you get a big boy luxury prestige Audi with a diesel for cheap. So
Nice.
and you rocking 40 miles to the gallon. And what?
Stupid.
Hey man, you can't go wrong with that. Why have the issues and problems of the 3-liter supercharged V6 when you can have the wonderful, joyous, maintenance-free life of a TDI?
Mm-hmm.
Even though you're probably polluting the earth according to EPA standards, who have told us that. Yeah, whatever. Screw the freaking perception that Americans have on Volkswagen diesels, because, well, let me rephrase that. Diesel cars in general, why we can have them in all these nice big trucks and not have them in cars beats me, but whatever.
The life we live.
Yes, that's just the same reason why we can't get wagons here either, because we're all buying SUVs, because no one likes wagons. Sorry, that annoys me, because there's really pretty wagons overseas.
Oh, yes, there is.
And like, there's V8 LS powered ones in Australia that we don't get either.
There's a lot of stuff Australia gets that we don't.
Well, because they get the best of both worlds. They get the North American stuff and the European stuff, because why not?
Right.
Because they're just like, we're the down under. We don't care about safety regulations.
Yeah.
Just give us what you got.
They live in danger.
Have you ever heard of the Outback, guys?
Yeah.
That's danger. I don't care what airbags come in it and what don't.
Yeah. Do your worst. It doesn't beat what's in my backyard right now.
Right now, there's probably 6 spiders that can kill me today.
Within an arm's reach right now.
It's whatever. We have to cope. We live here. Maybe we should just like pack up and move to Germany and do the show there.
I mean, if it pays itself to do so, I ain't gonna say no.
Hey guys, can you like make this happen? Just raise enough money for the show to move overseas, and we'll do podcasts outside the Nürburgring every day.
Right. Really bring the channel's name to fruition.
Right. We'll do HotLaps every day of the week, and you get to be there. We'll even do podcast episodes while doing HotLaps on the ring. How about that?
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Just GoPros and a telephone call. We'll be great.
We're gonna have to be able to blurp out some words there. I promise you, I'm not holding back in the middle of racing around on the Nürburgring.
Hits the apex drum.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
Spinning or something? Yeah. I'm not stopping myself.
No, that's just going to be a really expensive insurance bill, bro. That's my one thing. It's like, whenever we do finally go to the track and we do our track days and blah, 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 blah overseas, I'm just praying to God that that's the day that I do not wipe out on a track, because the expenses that it costs just on the Nürburgring alone, if you hit any of their walls and have to have the ambulance dispatched, it's like sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Oh, Lord Jesus.
So, that's why my thing is, when we go, we're going to rent cars, because they come with insurance, and that insurance comes with track insurance. And that insurance covers all the stuff that we don't have to pay for. We just got to pay the deductible. So, 1,000 euros is a lot better than like 200,000 euros.
Right.
Because I totaled somebody's M2.
Oh, God.
Yeah, no, I'm good, bro. Well, everybody, that ends the episode for the week. Like and subscribe. Please share. Go to Apple Podcasts. Give us 5 stars. Nope. The more you share, the better this gets. The more exposure we get. Even then, we might even get press cars. So, I mean, the better this. Which I'm just telling. Like, share, and subscribe. Just do that, please. Just
get us there.
Yeah, we would like to do this full time. So, help us do this full time.
Please, I beg you.
Please. We love our advising jobs, but this full time would be fire. Just saying.
I can do without the stress.
Yeah, exactly. You never know, we guys. We could be the next top gear guys. We have more friends. We have plenty of more friends to do this with.
More than enough.
I promise. And they know stuff about cars too. We could have top gear twice, just better.